Right, we should live. Yes, we are live, and oh god, that was awful. Let's go 2x over here until we get to the village. So sorry to everyone who's jumping into the stream right now, although I imagine nobody's here yet since we are just beginning. But for those of you watching the video afterwards, well, the reason I say that is because only now, and we are 23 minutes past 17 GMT, power has returned. I've been without power for the last, I don't know, hour and a half or so. It was extremely stressful, but now power is back, so we can jump into the games. And yes, welcome you guys, everyone. Let me update this information really quickly. These are going to be the semifinals. Best of 7 set between Suomi and Le Baguette, of course. So let's update this information as well. Suomi, beautiful, there we go. And yeah, let's get going. Let's play some music. And guys, welcome everyone to game number 1 of the set. Between Le Baguette and Suomi on the left hand side, Le Baguette will be playing with Anatop and Sito with Lithuanians and Gurjaras. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, we have the Max and Vileze. For civilizations, we'll see Anatop playing with Lithuanians. Besides that, we're gonna find also Sito playing with Gurjaras. Meanwhile, Vileze is playing with Lithuanians himself as well. And the Max is playing with Gurjaras too. Now, Gurjaras have been used quite a bit as of late. It's been popularized quite a bit by Battle Africa 3 as well, where Gurjaras have proven to be one of the strongest civilizations for pocket situations and maps where you have more than one source of food. So you're gonna be able to collect from the sheep food by garrisoning the sheep inside the mills. As you can see, that's going to be the case over here for Sito, who's actually going to be the flank over here as Gurjaras. Oh wow, actually it's not going to be a pocket civilization, it's actually going to be flank over here for both these players. But yeah, they're going for that, and they're going to get a lot of extra food for free just by garrisoning the herdables inside the mills. And we don't really have too much over here to go off though. It seems like there is a restart or something. Let me take a look at the spectator dashboard, because it says game over here, and I'm not 100% sure why. It says end of game data. So I'm just going to jump into the game once again, and sorry about that. Let's see if it's working. It was a restart. It's 6 minutes past the game. It's way too late for a restart. It'd be awkward if it was, and I don't see a lobby for the players, so I think it was probably just a game bugging out. Try and join in once again. But yeah, boy, I'm honestly just happy to be able to cast this at all. I thought I was not going to get power back on time. Once again, let's just fast forward, and hopefully we're not going to have any issues over here. Diva said they had a restart. They are at minute 16 of a new game. Yeah. It seems like they had a restart. From what I can see in the tournament server, there were 2 lobbies. So yeah, once again, let's fast forward over here. I think it was 6 minutes into the game or something. Let's check. Alright. We are getting close. We're getting there. We have a villager over here from the Max. Already putting pressure over here. We had the villagers he was sending forward at the same time as well. So this is something we had missed before. He was able to get an elephant down. So now Anatop's going to be in a little bit of a pickle. But yeah, there's a lot of action over here. I'm just going to ever so slightly 2x over here once again, so that yeah, so that we can catch up, because I'm pretty sure we are still behind. Once again, sorry to everyone who's coming into the stream over here and finding me 7 minutes into the game. But yeah, the power outage just finished. So there we go. The Max so far putting pressure with villagers. He's been taking a lot of heat as well. He's got one villager very low HP over there. Antop should be able to get a villager for sure. And now there's a quick wall over here from the Max. Interestingly enough, he's gonna try and take the engagement still. He's behind in villager count, so he wouldn't really benefit from taking the engagement. And take a look at the trap here from Sito. Well played. I'm really sure this is completely closed. I think it might be open. But Tito should have more villagers over here to work with the defender's advantage. He does get one villager over here from the max as well, plus the one up north he was able to get as well, and that's gonna be another one. Yes, sir! Another villager going down for the max. Gonna see another one going down. Yeah, for sure. He does end up opening the gate though, trying to bring some extra villagers into the mix, but he still managed to do some good damage, so it's not too bad. Beautiful. Remember how the Max did this boxing thing versus GL? I'm curious, since now he didn't douche and doesn't have the Berbers. Well, yeah, it's certainly not going to be the most conventional civilization for this kind of stuff. And so far, it's actually taken a lot more losses than Pix himself. There we go. Fantastic. Kama goes down over there for Sito, but still, the Max is going to lose yet another villager. He's lost so far 8 villas. He was able to get 5 kills himself, but 8 villagers loss is gonna be pretty brutal for him. For Somi in general, as the Baguette's got the second player going up to the Fuel H, for instance. They're gonna both be in the Fuel H. Meanwhile, for Somi, only Vilez is up. And the Max is still juggling to get enough resources to go up, and doesn't seem like he'll be able to do it at all. It seems like he's just gonna be causing trouble here. It's going to be the punching bag. Nice pick against Ito. And overall, Eco KD 7 to 8 for Suomi, so a little bit better for the Baguette. Once again, I'm just gonna try to catch up a little bit, so sorry for fast forwarding. There we go. Here comes the Max. We take a look at resources. And he doesn't really have enough to go for something like a douche, so that's kind of ruled out at this point. He's just trying to go for more Vil boxing, and he gets to another location, so already on the gold. The Max is going at it! Another villager goes down. Yes, sir! We should see another one over here for sure. Nice. With this, the Max gets ahead in work KD. Not really, actually. Okay, now it's going to be even. 13-13. The Max is fighting uphill over here. He doesn't care. He does get another villager though. And Artan seems to be having a much harder time dealing with this than Sito had before. The Max pushing the villagers away from Woodline. It's gonna go for a few palaces and make this a little bit more inefficient. And so far, it's been a pretty interesting game. Very happy that I'm even able to jump into this one, so well done. Sito instead is going for a counter strike with some Minotaurs over here. Cannot really do too much against the Max, so he's targeting Vilez. The Max got a very small amount of villagers left back home, and they're gonna be all protected by the TC. So instead, gonna see a villager go down over here from Vileza. Yes, sir. And Sito could try to go for yet another one. If he plays his cards right, he should be able to get another one over here. And that is so close. One more hit, and that villager goes down, but he cannot catch her. He cannot catch up. So the stable comes up over here, but Vileza has already been taking a few losses now on the left-hand side. Yellow player is trying to get water control by going for fire galleys. Meanwhile, Antap's getting to a scary amount of standard galleys, which he should be able to take advantage of to get a better trade against Vileza for sure. So Max gets to the Fuel H himself finally. You see a tower come up, and it's just been chaos. Gonna be honest, I'm a bit unsure about the strategy. Someone could certainly win this with a meta play. This is just how damn risky. I guess the Max just wants chaos. Yeah, I don't know about that. That's certainly nice to think though. Just thinking of sheer destruction over here, motivating the Max to go for this kind of push. But I imagine it's probably more out of respect for the Baguette and trying to mix this one up a little bit rather than play meta. That's just my guess though. Hey Toms! There we are. Minotaur's going down. Good reaction from Vilese. Good defense. Doesn't lose a single villager over here on the back. And cleans up the Minotaurs. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, he's still gonna keep on just prioritizing fire galleys. It's just not going to work. Anatop already has more than enough galleys to take these units down. And even though Vilese will be the first player to go up to the Castle Age and he get access to the fire ship unit once he gets War Galley upgrade, I think the amount of standard galleys we have from Anatop over here should suffice even against fire ships, given the numbers that Vilese is handling right now. Max keeps on roaming around. He's already pushed villagers away from one wood line, and Anatop's going over to a different one. It doesn't seem, though, as if the Max will actually be able to push villagers away from this one, though. We'll see. Right-hand side, another push from Cito, and this tower is going to provide some defenses. I'm trying to imagine the discussion where the Max explained his idea to Vilese. Vilese is the most meta of meta players. He must have been ecstatic to hear about this. Yeah. There we go. Nice quick walls from Vilese. Good reaction. Cito's archer still very strong though. End up pushing some of the villagers away. Meanwhile, on the left hand side, the Max was going for an outpost. He got spotted over here right away. So he's going back to the safety of his tower. He's got only 5 villagers left forward, so he cannot really do too much. I'm taking a look elsewhere, and yeah, he's got 3 villagers on the right hand side up north that he sent over. I'm pretty sure he's gonna try and go for a tower. But for the time being, the Baguette are looking alright. Vilese gets 2 knights over here as he's the first player in the Castle Age once again. He's not gone for the War Galley upgrade particularly early. He's only going for it now, so he's still on fire galleys over here. And Anatop shouldn't have an issue fighting fire galleys, obviously, and he's going to clean this up. A little bit sloppy from Vilese, but he cannot really garrison the fire galleys inside docks anymore because of this one being so low HP. Now the second dock left over here for Vilese. There we go. Good thing he just finished researching War Galley. Now the second dock's got 2 fire galleys over there, fire ships at this point. On the left hand side, the fire galleys Vilese already had turned into fire ships, enough to push Anatop's defensive fire galleys away. And then on the right hand side, this dock's about to eject the fire ships very soon. Anatop's got almost enough to go up to the Castle Age as well, while the Max is still struggling. So it's going to be very soon 3 players in the Castle Age, which both from the Baguettes. Meanwhile, only 1 from Somi, and there we go. Let's see if Anatop can take care of this. Doesn't seem to be particularly interested in taking the engagement just yet. Probably will just be waiting until he gets to the War Galley upgrade himself. Meanwhile, up north though, Cito's bringing camels over. Whatever happened here? I'm pretty sure the Max got spotted trying to go for this extremely aggressive tower. That is way too forward. He got spotted and he already took 2 losses and paid the price for it. Castle Age will be here for Anatop very soon, and thus we'll have both players from the Baguette up once again. And Somi, not only do they have 1 player still in the Fuel Age, but it doesn't seem like the Max will be able to click up anytime soon. And in addition to that, Somi are still behind in worker count at this point. Plus, you take a look at the military count, and Baguette, they have twice the military count right now. Over twice, almost thrice the military count. But I suppose if you run a risky strat like this, G1 is a time to do. Well, it's not going to be the riskiest of games, right? If you got clapped and you were like 3-0 behind, then I would imagine game 4 would probably be also a good time to go for something like this. But it's interesting to see that this is going to be the strat of choice for Somi to open the series with. And makes me wonder how confident they are in meta play versus Le Baguette. Certainly with game number 1 being a big struggle over here, and by the looks of it, doesn't seem like it's going to work necessarily. I'm kind of wondering if they are going to go for more meta games from G2 onwards. Anyway, Still a little bit of chaos over here as the Max still retains 1 tower, 2 towers on the left-hand side, and he's got an archer range. He's going to bring some skirmishes out. It's unlikely he'll be able to achieve too much with this though. At this point, the Baguette have already stabilized. We have the War Galley upgrade coming out for on the top, so that's gonna be good. There we go. Wow! And Punk Thomas, thanks so much for the Prime Gaming sub. It's appreciated. Welcome to the channel and thank you so much for the support. The camel's coming over as well. Another villager goes down from Vilese. So far, Ikokeli is certainly favoring the Baguette at 33 versus 20 right now. 34 versus 20. And what? Whatever happened here? Was there a conversion threat over here, or why did he delete the monks? Sorry, the camels. Let me go back a little bit. Wow, triple kill! Damn, that was really good. Good stuff. Let's see. Extra TC on the way for Vilese. Well, it's certainly going to be on him to bring the game back over here, as the Max is still trying to gather enough resources to go up to the Castle Age. It won't really be too relevant in this game for a little bit, so Vilese's gotta kind of clutch it up and take the game for Somi if they are ever going to do it. Now, however, Sito managed to get a Shrivamsha Rider coming forward. Denying the 4th EC actually from Vilese, getting 4 villager picks over here. Beautiful. Raid. There you are. Explain to me how the Max has less idle time than either of the Baguettes. Well, he's been the one causing chaos. So he's made it very hard for both players to keep villager production, and he was much better at keeping villager production going himself. Unfortunately, of course, EcoKD over here is not really going to favor him too much, so maybe that's the reason why he's got less idle TC time, maybe not paying quite as much attention to the units. Could be. But yeah, it's remarkable though, still. See a forward castle coming up for Sito, and that's going to start putting pressure significantly harder against Somi. There you are. The castle's coming up for sure. So the towers are going down, those villages are getting picked up for sure as well. Take a look at the castle range. If he had ballistics, those villages would be goner. And Castle Age is gonna be here for the Max very soon. Still so far behind though in overall population. So far behind them both villagers and worker count. So the Baguettes are starting really strong. More Shirvanshire Riders coming against Vilese again. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. It's coming over. The quick walls did not connect for Vilese, so it seems like he's going to be completely protected over here by the Max. They are ignoring the red player and going straight up against Vilese, which makes sense. The Max is kind of dead at this point, so targeting Vilese over here certainly seems like the sensible choice. Good stuff. Overall, looking pretty good for Le Baguette. Unique upgrade coming up as well for Sito. Good push up north. Yeah, from this point onwards, it should be fairly straightforward for Le Baguette. Given the difference in population, both for military and economy, they should be able to afford more units. They should be able to push much harder. Unless they, you know, royally screw up something over here, they should be able to take it. Let's see. I can't really see a way for Sumi to win this, bearing a bunch of statistical anomalies or whatever. Yeah. Wheelbarrow's on the way now for Anatop as well. Beatles are going for pikes. Shouldn't really do too much. What do we have for the baguette? Well, the baguette are going to go just for cavalry though. The pikes will be fantastic, of course. I'm waiting for maybe Sito to make a play for crossbows or something else. Doesn't seem to be transitioning into anything though. This is the kind of stuff that I was saying might allow Somi to come back. Still gonna keep on going for just camels against pikes and monks. Certainly seems kind of rough. Anato's gonna make a play for pikeman himself as well. And if we take a look up north, we're gonna see also another castle coming up. And wow! Let's Yerk, thank you so much for the Prime Gaming sub as well. It's very much appreciated. And welcome to the club. I hope you're enjoying. I hope you guys have enjoyed Terra Nova Duels so far. It's been fantastic in my opinion. It's been so good. We have had so much content over this tournament, and yeah, very much looking forward to the rest of the semifinals and the grand finals, of course. Now, I'm not really sure if T-West is available to co-cast. He said that he was before the games began, but I was still without any power, so I said that I was probably not going to cast this one live. If he's still around and he's not casting with anyone, we could potentially have him hop over for games 2 onwards. He's casting? Okay, that's good. There we are. Yeah, sure, that'd be helpful, Pailo. Thank you. I mean, there's a lot of bikes over here, and still I don't see anything other than cavalry from Cito here. And even though Anatop went for the pikeman upgrade, he doesn't really have too many to work with over here. He's going up to the Imperial Age instead. Well, he's playing with Lithuanians. What is the plan here? Why, Chai? Has he collected any relics at all? He's got 1. Vilas has got 2, so Vilas' teams will be stronger. Man, Somi started to come back over here, and I am not liking what I'm seeing from the baguette too much. Sticking to cavalry is certainly risky. Max still taking pressure. He's already lost a TC to the Siege Elephant. We see also from the Armor Elephant. Now we see another castle coming out for Sito. Nice. Beautiful. Infantry's on the way now for Vileza, the first player to get to the Imperial Age. He's got castles up north, Trebuchet's coming out, putting pressure already against Anatop's castle. A nice raid from the Max with the 1 Shrivamsha Rider. Might be able to get a lot of damage over here, but yeah, still it's going to be tough. Now even Sito's going up to the Imperial Age, so should be good. Yes, we'll try to have him come over after game number 1 is over, for sure. Thank you, Bailo. Guess it goes down for Anatop. Is that going to make much of a difference? Not really. I don't think so. It doesn't seem like, given the amount of pikemen over here, now the halberdier up, we're coming up for Anatop as well. It doesn't seem to me like we're going to see necessarily Lychai over here. Although Vilise does have 2 castles still, it would still not be strong enough for full Lychai production, I would say. Well, they are forward bumping hits with halberdiers. Sito's going to send some extra Shrivancha riders around to get some villagers down from Vilise on the back. He's already been able to get a bunch of kills over here, 6 villagers, with the 6 remaining Shrivancha riders he's got. Beautiful. Here we go. Up north. Yeah, still a halberdier engagement over here. Actually, it seems to be going in favor of Anatop. How many barracks do we have for the green player here to produce? He's got 6. How many do we have for Vilise? He's got 5. Anatop seems to be looking a little bit stronger over here. Oh, hey, check this out. We had Chakra Rider, throwers. Chakra throwers. Amazing. I don't think I have seen this before. A good amount of these units being produced. They're actually pretty good though. They're one-shot villagers, of course. No ballistics though. That one was just running for her life. Still though, the TC's going down. Vilese's village is popping out over here. We're gonna see more and more picks, of course, and it doesn't seem like there is stopping Sito at this point. Well, guys, Somi is starting to lose steam over here. Starting to run out of steam, starting to lose momentum. So yeah. And DiGeronimo, man, I'm not really sure if I said thanks for the sub yet. It's very much appreciated, man. It's very much appreciated. Thank you for the support. 4 months as well, which is sustained support even. It's fantastic to see. Thank you. Nice picks. Castle goes down as well from Vilise. So back down to 2 castles only. And more Chakram Rider, throwers rather. More armor elephants coming around. And it's been very, very hard for Somi to put a stop to this push. And it's so simple yet so effective. Just 2 elephants and a bunch of throwers. Throwers defend the elephants will take this down. Same as with rams, of course. Alright. That's another TC going down, man. Vile's gonna be left on only 1 TC, I think, after this one crumbles. He does have 2, though. So it's 1 over here, and then he's got another one somewhere else up north over here, which is very hard to see. So that's going to be GG. Well played. So we are just going to skip the achievements and go back because we are behind and we don't want to still be too far behind for game number 2. Now, before we jump into it, 1 second. We're just going to run the ad right away so that we don't have any... Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Okay, never mind. Oh, yeah, we are going to run an ad over here so we don't get any pre-rolls for game number 2, and then we'll jump into the call with T-West. 1 moment.
I enjoyed it, so I'm just going to catch up to lifetime on this one. And we saw some Vil fights from the Max in that first game.
Mm-hmm.
I know Lix had been doing a lot of Vil fighting in some of the other games, but didn't really work out for the Max that time.
Yeah, for sure. It seems very interesting, and also we were talking about this in my channel too. Do you think that game number 1's strategy of choice for Somi, is there anything that you can read into from that? Like, are they probably maybe not comfortable going for meta gameplay over here, or what do you make out of it?
I feel like they just like doing weird stuff sometimes.
All right.
I mean, I think on these on those maps where you start with the players so close to each other. If you have one player able to disrupt two players, you can put yourself at a pretty good advantage. Like in that game, even though the Max is pretty far behind, Veles still was in a fairly decent position, and they did a good job of securing that gold trench, even though they were a bit too far behind to make it work.
Right, yeah, correct. I found it very interesting to see Gurjaras being used over there. It seems to have popularized quite a bit since Battle Africa, and I remember even though we allowed new civilizations to be used for the playoff stage, we never had seen Gurjaras be quite as prominent before.
Yeah, well, I think that that map just had all those goats on it.
Yeah.
And that's the reason. If you can get like an extra, I think every goat is 3.5 food per minute. So
Yes.
when you have 20 goats in your mills, that's a lot of food.
Yeah, somebody did the math on my stream and it was 1050 food after 30 minutes.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, if you have sorry, one meal fully garrisoned with 10, so if you had 20, that's going to be 2100.
Yeah, I saw a Battle of Africa game where one player had 50 goats in the mills.
Oh, is that so? I think the most I
Yeah.
ever saw was like 37 or so. Which set was
Now,
it?
it was on Beach Fight, so it's the one where you start with all the farms, so you
Yeah.
don't need the sheep right away. The team just sent all of them to their Gurjaras player.
Yeah. Was it this weekend?
It was a few days ago, I think.
Okay. Yeah, I think I might have seen that. All right. Yeah, that was pretty good. And Gurjaras are fantastic in those maps where you have an alternative source of food that is not going to require you to butcher the herdables. Because like realistically, it's going to be so much faster for you to get the food if you just take it, right? But if you have an alternative source of food, it makes a lot more sense too.
Yeah, and here we have a nice quick wall from Veles by his dock. He actually managed to trap Sato's donkey, and he's just gonna hack away at that donkey with his villager.
He's got it. Good stuff. On the left-hand side, Sito's going for, I think it's going to be the second. Yeah, the second dock. And what do we have for civilizations for game number 2? So game number 1, let's see, went in favor of Le Baguette, right? So now Somi is under pressure to perform, and they have Malians
So we have
and Koreans.
Malians.
Oh, sorry, Malians
from
and
both
Mayans.
teams.
Yes. Go on, go on.
Yeah, Malians from both teams. The difference is Mayans versus Koreans. So interestingly enough, we'll have the Malians mirror matchup on the border with Sato docking with 2 docks against the Max with 2 docks at the north. And Sato will be up first.
And by quite a bit
and
as well.
Koreans, Mayans, both good unique units, both kind of good at nomad with their castle drop potential.
Yes, yes. So with the very nice head start to the fuelage already, Sito's going for fire galleys. Now on this map, do you like a fire galley opening into standard galleys, or do you think committing to fire galleys is going to work too?
I feel like fire galleys can work when you're like really close to each other, like the Max and Sato are. When you're further away, I definitely prefer galleys.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. So he's opening up over here with fire galleys. He's already going forward and trying to find some exposed economy, although he's not been lucky enough to see the fish ships. Should be able to find them very soon. And Bileze is going to get to the fuelage, and Margu is going to get to the fuelage very soon as well, so everyone will be up.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if Margugu tries to add any ships on the water here to help out the map, or wait, no, to help out Sato, because it will be a 2v1 on the water over here. Veles kind of has a pond to himself on the south, but Sato being up first already has a fire there as well.
Oh, yeah. He's got it, putting pressure. We have a second dog coming up for Vilese. That's gonna be good. As Sito's gotta kind of split his resources between the right and left-hand side ponds, it should be possible for Vilese to clean up the right-hand side and claim the pond for himself.
Yeah, and we see 1 fire being added from Margugu. That's probably all he needs to do. And just give Sato a slight advantage on the water so he can push off the Max.
Yeah. So far, Porika KD is 1-1. More fishing ships should be going down over here by the minute, but it's It's not allowed just yet. 2 to 1. 3 to 1.
And we have a fairly decent job of just being annoying in this southern pond from Sato. He's actually adding in a second dock. And since he was up so fast, he actually does have a pretty good window where they might actually be able to win both of the ponds.
Oh man, that'd be incredible. Alright. Good job over here. Good unit control for Vileza trying to repair the fire galleys as well. Good unit control for Sito. Realized about this and bails. Now he does not have a villager at hand, interestingly enough. He does have one up north, but it's going to be on the other side of the galley, so just being careful.
Yeah, the fun thing about where that villager is on the south for Velez between the docks and the fire ships is the fire ships actually cannot shoot over the stuff in front of them and hit the repair villager. You would need galleys if you wanted to do that.
Yeah, and that is so annoying as well. Just a second ago, Sito was trying to target even a fire galley and he couldn't do it because of the dog.
Yeah, that does get really annoying. The fun thing is the fire galleys actually have 0% accuracy. So, like, literally every one of their shots misses. But then that's just to make it so that it kind of disperses a bit and gets all crazy when it shoots in different directions. It still does damage if it hits the target, but it's a very weird way to structure the projectile for them.
Oh, is that how it works? I thought for a moment that it had like a 3D projectile calculation or something like that.
It does, but it's given 0% accuracy. So normally, like, units have accuracy percent if it's, and it's basically a coin toss. If it's successful, they hit the target, and if it's wrong, they miss.
Right.
And the projectile can fly in a different direction and still have a chance of hitting. Just for fire galleys, they always miss, but still have a chance of hitting.
Ah, that's pretty interesting. Well, so far on the right-hand side, Sito's actually done a really good job, and yeah, he's got more fire galleys over here left, and it seems like Vileza will end up getting just pushed away.
And for Margugu, we see a castle coming up in the bottom left of the map here. Very close to Velez's base, but not too aggressive, more of a defensive castle near his TC. And as the Koreans, I think we can expect some war galleys coming out. We already see the monk defense from Velez.
Yeah. I think so for sure. Castle's coming up, and Velez's monks are on the way as well, as you said. Meanwhile, up north, we have a tower coming up actually from the max on the back of Sito's woodline, so he's gonna start putting some pressure on land himself, and he's also on his way to the castle age. That's going to put both players from Somi up in the castle age a little bit sooner compared to Le Baguette, who are still going to be, or Sito is going to be kind of stuck still.
Yeah, Sato had invested so much into those galleys to win the ponds. He's going to be in the feudal for a bit longer. And again, we see the Max just trying to be annoying with those towers like he was last game. Just trying to move Sato around, keep his villagers moving from one wood line to another.
It's worked out pretty well. If I take a look at Sito's point of view, he's already gone for an outpost, so he at the very least should have vision if the Max tried to go for a tower on the right-hand side wood line. So yeah, that's going to be safe for the time being, but now it's going to be Margugu actually in the south, going for tower himself. He's got the guard tower over here upgrade for free already for Korean, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, that guard tower will help give the war wagons room to work against the monks. The monks won't be able to stand underneath its fire and get the conversions.
Yeah. And we have some Eagle Scouts coming out for Vileza. Still Eagle Scouts, no Eagle Warriors. So have you seen, by the way, the range thing for capturage? Do you use it at all?
The range outlines where you can see the like the in-game thing. Yeah, I have that turned on right now.
Oh, okay. I'm not a freak, you see? I'm not the only one. Oh boy, there you go. Castle Age is gonna be here for the max, and now it becomes interesting. The Baguette, they are ahead in population significantly, but if Somi play their cards right, they might be able to come back over here. It's not, in terms of absolute numbers, a huge, unsurmountable difference.
Yeah, I think the one key bonus is that the Baguettes have won both of the ponds. They've basically fished all the fish that were in the ponds, at least in the north, but Sato still has access to fish in the south.
Yeah. So, very soon...
here come the war wagons on the Max's TC.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, that's pretty good. Oh man, this sucks big time for Somi. They do end up taking a few losses. You're behind in population like this, you you know, the every loss is going to hurt a lot more. You take a look at the
Indeed.
score difference right now as well, and it's looking pretty good for the Baguette. And some, yeah, I imagine even though they do not have a population counter in the game for the other team, they probably know.
They can probably feel it.
Yeah. Good push. Right, there's an extra TC coming up down south as well for Vileze. So they're gonna try to play for population. 30 TC even on the way for the max as well.
Yeah, and this is just full-on monk defense here down in the south from Vilesa. He's doing everything he can to stop the Vils from moving forward with those guard towers. And he managed to stop one of them. That was a bit ambitious, but I think the Koreans should be able just to force these up.
Yeah,
the thing he doesn't want to do is convert villagers, because then he won't be able to convert the war wagons.
Exactly. That's why Margu's being so seemingly reckless, going for the villagers forward and just completely ignoring the monks, but that's intended. And now he's going for yet another one, as Vilas is trying to get a defensive castle over here. That's going to be very hard to get up, we'll see.
The monks need to get some conversions here.
Oh boy.
Yeah, one.
Oh man, just one? Two?
I think two?
Yeah,
maybe
two.
A third? I don't think that's going to be enough, though.
Yeah.
Castle looks like a doubt castle now.
Certainly is gonna be smiling upon the house here. Though, it's been a very nice push for Margu so far. Remember when Koreans even used to have villages who could build fortifications faster? That was nuts, man. Over here, he was still able to make it work.
Yeah, that was nuts. Yeah, Koreans used to basically be Sicilians with how they made their castles faster, too.
Yeah, true. More conversions. Got one.
Well, the thing about monks is that as long as you have, like, 4 or 5 of them alive, you can still force your opponent to take very awkward engagements. But if you look at Velez, he's running out of space. He's slowly getting pushed back by the war wagons, and there's no way he's going to get that castle up now with the guard tower on it.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the Max is also kind of cornered. He used to be the one going forward, putting pressure. Right now, he's just going to be kind of trapped on the right-hand side. You even see Cito's going as far as to wall the Max up and in the north as well.
Yeah, I don't think you can actually wall all the way to the edge of the map around the mountains, though. As we see,
Yeah.
oh, actually, there's some converted war wagons here from the Max have run between the mountain and the wall, and it's going to take a nice little hike around the outside of that mountain. I don't know if you'll be able to do much damage with them, but these walls from Sato are not actually walling anything. I think the mountain terrain is actually not wallable.
I believe that is the case. So this kind of reminds me a little bit to yesterday's set. I think you and Orlu cast that one where in Tenochtitlan, the Baguette actually managed to get a very, very interesting sneaky villager, gets so much damage done.
Right.
In game 3, that was incredible. And it seems like we could see something like this over here. The Max did manage to get a stable up outside the walls, and I think he retains the villager over here, so until Cito spots that. Oh, he knows about it now.
Yeah, the thing is, though, Sato's already walled up, so I don't know if the knights are really going to be able to get in.
Fair point, yeah. He's walled towards the lake.
Oh, and we have a forward castle here from Sato, as meanwhile on the south, Velez went for a less aggressive castle and is also going to rush that guard tower down with the castle and try to get his first castle up. And meanwhile on the right, we have a double castle drop on both sides of the map as Sato is going for a castle right in the middle of the Max's eco.
I think he gets this, man. I think he gets it.
That's a lot of war wagons over there, and I don't think there's anything the Max can do to stop it. The Max doesn't really have any army.
Yeah, this is a beautiful location for Cito. This castle is going to provide a stepping stone, but then on top of that, it's also on a hill. So we see the Mangonel coming out over here, could potentially even take the TCs down. The left-hand side one, which is beyond the castle's range, for instance, could be taken down by the Mangonel over there.
Yeah, Sato also, I think, if he does Fletching and Bodkin, is that castle 2 tiles away? It might be able to hit the TC. But it'll take out the one on the right at least.
Yeah. Might be possible. We'll see.
That's what the capture age range circles show us.
Yeah, sometimes I'll just laugh at how minuscule the intersection between a building and another building's range is, and it's still going to be enough for you to target the building. Like a tower, for instance, going to be beyond the range of a castle, but the little leaf texture is going to be within the range, and it's still going to be enough.
Well, looks like I don't know if Margugu is aware that he might be able to run through the mountains to the south. I don't know if he can. Maybe they're overlapping. That might actually be a mountain wall there. So he's just going to try to keep breaking into Veles's base on the left. As Veles is trying to actually now castle drop Sato, return the favor. And right in the middle of the map, I don't think there's anything to stop that castle. As he's starting to go for a monk rush, a plumed archer rush, and a converted war wagon rush.
Yeah, the thing over here though is also Veles's castle's coming up for sure. Sito will most likely not end up losing that TC over there, but I'm not really sure this castle will do too much damage, all things considered, especially when you compare it to the... Wow, second castle from Sito on the right-hand side. Take a look at the Exodus!
Oh, the villagers, they're trapped in the mountains with the war wagons.
Oh boy.
There's a couple of them that might run away, but the Max is in danger. Does he have units outside of his base? He is in danger of being defeated. There's war wagons out by his stable and that other stone he's taking.
Didn't end up getting trapped over there. Indeed.
Yeah, this is looking pretty over for the Max here. The war wagons are just slaughtering all of his population. He's trying to rebuild the TC, but I don't see that going up.
Yeah, man. That's with a second wave of war wagons coming over the left-hand side. These converted ones will not provide enough of a buffer, so those villagers are most likely dying over here. So the max has gone down already to 35 villagers, and that's going to keep on dropping over here. Plus the castles on the right-hand side and all the pressure coming out from Sito. He doesn't, as you say, he doesn't really have anywhere to run. He's just sending the villagers over to the north, but he's just going to run into the war wagons.
And there's the GG.
There we go. Okay. Wow. That was remarkable from the Baguette.
Yeah, I think that was a very good start from Sato, being able to get to the feudal age so fast to win the water, and then still being able to win both ponds.
Yeah. Completely agreed. That was interesting for sure. Suomi is gonna have now to, well, you know, they cannot lose 2 more games, and we have 5 games left over here with the Baguette's 100% win rate after the first 2 games is certainly going to be a challenge for Suomi to take this one, I would say, given how things have gone in the first 2 ones.
Yeah, Suomi does have a bit of a hole to climb out of, and unfortunately we didn't see any turtle ships that game.
Yeah.
But I think the Civ choice of having Koreans instead of mines worked out pretty well for them, because the war wagons can be difficult for the mines to deal with, as you can't really go for plumed archers against them, and in the nomad situation you do want to go for that fast castle into your unique unit.
Right.
Oh yeah, great KD for Margugu, 77-9. He did have 11 of his units get converted, but I feel like most of the other team just had converted war wagons as their army.
Fair point. Yeah, from the max, we saw some from Viles as well. So that's good. Still though, you take a look at the economy, for instance. It's going to look better for the Baguette. They ended up collecting more than half of the resources available in the game, or that they collected in the game collectively. And for society, they also, especially towards the end of the game, they were getting some incredible momentum. They were going to be so far ahead in economy that obviously the total amount of resource collected was going to keep on skyrocketing for the Baguette compared to Suomi, and it was just going to keep on getting increasingly harder for Suomi to come back in that game.
Right. Okay, I'm in the game too. I'm just catching up to live time. And so we'll have Turks for both teams, and the difference will be Teutons versus Poles. And I guess we should note that let me see which color is which. We'll have red and blue, so the Turks will be facing off against each other, and on the other side it will be Poles versus Teutons.
Yes, sir. So for the civilizations, you do have a few choices. Turks can go for more than one thing. They can go for fast castle into Janissaries. They can go for fast imp, which we saw. I think I saw yesterday. I was casting some of the second division sets from Terra Nova Duos, and I saw a fast imp approach for Turks. Didn't quite work, so I'm curious as to what we're gonna get for this one.
Yeah, I think Turks have had a lot of changes since back in their AOC days where they would mostly be going for the Janissary push, and Cav Archers can definitely be a very viable option for them. And I think that like fully upgraded Turk heavy Cav Archer has a place both against the Teutons and also against the Poles. So either team could opt for that. And they could also just opt for more of the standard Turk arena strategies. I know I have seen some Janissary pushes watching games on this map before.
Okay, yeah, I do like your remark about the cavalry archers. Certainly going to be an extremely strong option for them. As for Poles, well, Poles, I remember I saw the Spirit of the Law video. I think it was a video of his that he explained how Poles were very, very good in terms of win rates on arena maps, but only up until the very top. So let's say from 1300 to like 1800 or something like that. And then at the very, very top, they will kind of fall off dramatically. And I'm not really sure, would you say that this is going to be good for Anatop or not quite as good?
Well, we'll have to see what strategy he goes for, because I know the Trush has been very popular on Arena.
Yeah.
Especially lately. So the Poles, well, I guess Poles and Teutons both are pretty good trushing civs for Arena. If it goes super late game, I think that they could struggle against some of the heavier paladins from the Teutons.
Yeah.
Those Cavaliers, they certainly do have the numbers advantage, and they do have probably the eco advantage, right? We have 2 civs with farming bonuses, but I've watched enough games with Poles to know that if it goes really late, they have more food than anyone else.
Okay.
But it comes down to how do they take the fights, and are they able to keep their numbers up against the very heavily armored Teuton paladins, potentially in the late game, or even against their halbs. The Teutons also have very good halbs.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of what you would get, for instance, between like Goths and civilization with stronger infantry, where Goths are going to be all about numbers. With the difference over here that Poles, of course, can be pretty good for economy in late stages, while as Goths usually not so much. So that's going to be different for sure. And yeah, right now we are going to see Anatop go up to the fuel age on 18 population, so I think this should indicate a push from him for sure.
Yep, and let's see where the villagers are going.
Yeah, he's going over to Citos. Wait, what?
And don't trust your teammate. Gonna build some towers to keep Sato safe. I think he probably wants to go towards Veles, though.
Yeah. Okay, so he's going up there. He's making a switch to stone right now as well, and this is one of the things that makes Paul's early aggression pretty good, because their stone miners will be collecting 50% of the amount of stone that they get in gold from the stone mines.
Yep. And that's one of the things that helps on these arena trushes. You can mine stone, and you don't need that second mining camp on the gold to go up. You can just mine the stone, and eventually you'll be able to click.
Yeah, and once you get to the castle age, if you keep on collecting stone, you can potentially even go for a castle. And if you get the castle, well, that's just one click away from Schlachta privileges, and that's opening the hell gates.
Yeah. And the other thing is, if, one of the defenses against the Trush is for the other player just to send their villagers and try to fight it off before the towers go up, you can't do that against the Poles because their villagers regenerate HP.
True. Interestingly enough, he's gone for the tower within vision of, the walls over here. So that's going to allow Vilesa to go for some extra walls already behind over here. It's going for palisades, but the tower comes up, so only one palisade tile over here behind the stone wall.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's a great location for a tower because there's no natural way to wall that off. It's just a huge opening behind those walls, and we're going to need a huge number of palisade foundations for Veles to even just try to wall that off. and stop the vills from getting in.
True. To be fair, I definitely would have preferred that tower more on the right-hand side towards the north so that you would put pressure against the stone potentially and also the gold, but I think he might not have... Yeah, he didn't really know about the stone, for instance. So
Yeah, he can't see the stone now. Yep, and there's the second tower. And once that goes up, let's see, we have Velez just now hitting feudal, so now he can counter tower.
Okay.
He's just gonna go blacksmith and market.
Yeah. Just going for extra walls over here towards the TC. I guess that works too. If he goes for one extra palisade by the house over there and connects to the tree, that would make it very, very hard for Anatop to keep on pushing despite the fact that he can break through the walls.
Yeah, and we have the defensive tower now from Velez. What worries me here is that this is pretty much his only tower. And once that goes up, he's trying to wall in front of it. It's like, I don't really see a good way for him to keep villas from advancing, but he's just going to put down all the houses, and that's 100 wood of houses he's putting down in front of that tower.
Alright, and it's pretty expensive. It seems to me like he'll still be able to click up just fine though. After finishing researching a loom, he's very, very close to having enough resources, so he should be on his way still. But it's going to be kind of disrupted and delayed compared to what it could have been, so I guess Anatop's not going to be necessarily wasting this push. However, it's not getting as much as he could have gotten if he was able to prevent Vilese from going up full stop.
Yeah, we see both Velesa and Sato on stone. So that's both the Turks players probably thinking of going for a castle at some point, but these towers are going to affect the positioning of Velesa's castle. There's no way he can walk forward around the towers to put it forward now. It's going to have to be defensive if he does want to go immediately for those Janissaries.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Sito also will be up a little bit sooner, and because he was not under pressure, he's gonna have enough resources, enough stone to go for the castle a little bit sooner compared to Vilas as well. I'm not really sure if it's going to be enough to make a difference though, because... Oh yeah, it will be, so he should be able to go for the castle as soon as he hits the castle age. That's already going to be faster, that's good.
But speaking of players up to the castle age, we have the Max. He's already up, adding in 2 TCs, and looks like he's just going to be fully booming as the Teutons.
That's pretty good, and very soon that's going to result in a much, much larger economy compared to anybody else. So what is the plan over here then for... Well, a baguette, given that Sito's going for fast castle, and he's going to go for the castle forward, he's already sending some villagers. And the Max, and Anatop instead is kind of stuck in the fuel age right now. They need to start doing a lot of damage over here before the Max gets too far ahead.
Yeah, well, there was the castle foundation deleted and moved even further forward for Sato. I think that palisade there will make it a bit awkward for the Bills to get to it. Actually, this is a situation where Valesk might even consider a defensive tower if he has the stone for it, just to stop that castle from going up.
Yeah. And that's not too many villagers.
Yeah, it's only 6, and some of them are injured, or one of them's injured already.
He's not going for it though. I definitely agree. One tower over there would definitely be enough to at the very least deny this castle, as you can build a tower within range, or actually with the range that completely encompasses the castle while still being beyond the range of Anatop's tower, so I'm not really sure why he didn't go for it.
And the good thing for Veles is that castle he puts up secures his gold. So he's not going to have to run away or run outside of his back walls for gold. He's able to take his main gold and be safe inside of his base, at least for the moment.
True. Now Anatop's just kind of pushed away from here. He's going back home. And he's going up to the castle age. Whatever he goes for right now, it seems like it's going to be a castle for him, right? He keeps on collecting stone. I think whatever he goes for, he's just going to have to try and play extremely aggressive, mainly because of Max's head start to the castle age. Max already has managed to get a very substantial villager lead.
Yeah, I wonder where he's going to be aggressive, though, because I see 5 of his villagers walking all the way back across the map, back to his base.
Yeah.
So it doesn't look like he's going to be going forward for a second castle. But we do have a second castle from Veles, though.
Let's see. He's going
right
up.
On his stone behind that market.
He's going north.
Oh, looks like it'll be a castle on the max then.
Yeah. And I feel like he kind of has to. So where's the foundation coming up? Oh, that's good, man.
Hey, we'll cover that gold.
Yeah, just by chance, he doesn't see it. So good.
And let's see, I guess the good thing for the max is this is not arena, but arenaception. He has gone outside of his back walls to mine some of that gold that's on the outside. So he still will have access to gold if he scouts around the back of it.
Yeah, for sure. We still have a lot of extra gold in between his base and Vilesa's, for instance. On the left-hand side, by the way, Vilesa's gone for a second castle, and he's targeting the castle from Sito over here with 2.
Yeah, and Sato needs to be careful. He's trying to make some Janissaries, but the way they're pathfinding around those palisade walls, they're walking into Valesa's castle fire.
Yeah, the village account is very one-sided right now for Somi, for sure. But it's a good point. With 2 castles over here for Vilese, he should be able to outproduce the bull player, especially with the castle being kind of stuck in between both these. However, it's not been the case. We have more for Sito over here, and it seems like Vilese... What's going on? Vilese is not really going for much economy, and he's not really going for too many Janissaries. What's the situation?
I imagine he just wants to go imp on that 1 TC now so he can trub down the castle that's in the front of his base. We have a second TC for Sato, so a bit of a boom there.
I guess he could potentially try and go for some petards, maybe?
Maybe, but I feel like he is kind of... He should be safe in the knowledge that it's 2 castles versus 1. I don't think he really feels pressure to do petards at the moment.
Right. Alright. Darts coming over from Anatop, and it's going to prompt a second layer of walls from the max, going for a siege workshop over there. It's going to stay close for the time being. And it doesn't seem like Anatop's getting too much out of the castle over here, besides just some forcing some extra walls for the max.
Yeah, the Max has done a good job walling that castle. You know, it wasn't too early. Max already had a pretty good eco established by the time it came up, so he was able to afford those second layer of walls.
Yeah, the Max is going to be the first player to go up to the Imperial Age as well, by quite a bit. Taking a look at everybody else's resources, nobody seems to be particularly close to going up at all. Well,
and that's quite impressive to have the 3 TC boom and be the first to imp when many other players were on 1 TC.
Yeah, just as I say that, Vilese actually starts getting very, very close to having enough to go up himself too, so it seems like you are on point, man. He's just going to go up.
Well, I guess one thing to note for Velez is that this castle from Sato has actually started targeting the TC of Velez. So it could potentially make it difficult for him to click up if he's going to lose his only TC. It's not like he can put Imp in a back TC when he has only 1 TC.
That makes sense. The thing about that, though, is that the castle doesn't have enough range to cover the north side of the TC. So Vilese, if he clicks up over here, should be able to keep the TC up by repairing it.
That's true, but you know what I'm looking at? There is like a very narrow gap between the 2 castle outlines from Velesa, where Sato could potentially target a palisade wall and get some petards over to that TC. Because at this point, I think you only need like 2 petards if the TC that low, maybe even only 1, and it should go down.
That is a very good point. I hadn't noticed that. That's another point in my favor and my suggestion to have translucent buildings for capture each optionally so you can see behind it, because it's very hard.
Yeah, well, exactly. As you pointed out, you can turn on the range indicators now, and you can see those things.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Imperial Age is here for the max, and well, boy, 72 villages might not be an insane amount of vills, but it's pretty good still. He's going for a 4 TC on the right-hand side, so he's just going to keep on getting further ahead.
Yeah, and also, since he has the fortified walls, they take an extra petard to bust through. So he is safe for the moment.
Absolutely. Imperial Age is coming out for Sito right now, the first player from the Baguette. It doesn't seem like Anatop will be able to go up just yet. Interestingly enough, Anatop actually managed to get ahead in economy compared to Sito. Yeah, despite going up significantly later, mostly because of how expensive this push from Sito was on the left-hand side.
Yeah, well, that's, I think, 2 things. One is the Poles have amazing farms, and 2,
yeah,
you know, if you stay in the feudal age for a long time, you are getting a pretty good economy to turn into a boom when you reach the castle age.
Yeah, true. So what to expect over here? There's already a trebuchet from the Max. He should be able to take the castle down from Anatop. There is no way the green player is able to keep that castle up, so he's going for a second one on the back. So what do you make out of a second castle over here for Anatop? What do you think he's aiming for?
That castle in his base? Oh,
Yeah.
I imagine he knows that he can't hold this forward against the Max now, so they're just going to back up. And I feel like the same thing's going to happen with Sato. He's not going to be able to keep his castle alive, as that TC was repaired enough to let Veles get up to Imp, and we already see the Treb coming out. So it feels like the Suomi team should get control of the middle of the map. And oh, actually, the outside of the map too is the Max has come forward to wall the right side of Anatof's base.
Yeah, he had before a DC foundation coming up by the goal, and then he deleted it. He went for the walls, and only after he managed to secure the area, only now he's going for the 4 TC. Pretty smart.
Oh, we see on the left-hand side, though, remember, Veles's 2 castles are on the front. We see Janissaries going around the left. Looks like they're going to walk back, though. Or nope, they're turning around. They don't know where to go.
Yeah, this is a moment where you would probably want to have like a few petars over here just to bust through, because the Janissaries,
Exactly.
the moment they get spotted, they become kind of, well, not really useless, but they're not really going to be able to get too much damage done the moment Veles pulls villagers away from the walls anyway.
Yeah, and we see the defensive siege workshop going up for Veles, too.
Right on.
We see, oh, he wants to make another wall to keep the Janissaries out. Will that wall get up in time? No, it won't. He pulls the Vil back.
He's bringing his own Janissaries over here. He's got 11 versus 15 from Sitos. So Sitos got more, but he doesn't know about Veles's. Now he knows.
Yeah, I guess the key here is that if Veles has to stay with his Janissaries back in his base defending, he's not going to be able to use that earlier imp advantage to pressure the Baguettes team. He's going to have to clean up these Janissaries in the back first.
Yeah, that's a good point. And now he's going for Bombard Cannon, so if he does manage to clean this up, then he should be able to go for it and he would still retain some momentum. But Sitos already got into the Imperial Age, he's going for Bombard Cannons himself, so I think that time window has kind of passed already for Velese.
Yeah, and Sato still managing to trade fairly evenly there. Over time, Velesa will amass more Janissaries in his home base, but I think that was a pretty good play from Sato there.
Yeah. Pretty similar to what we get with the Trash early on to try and disrupt, but much later into the game with military instead. Down south, Anatop and Sito are starting to mass some units up. Sito's got some Janissaries over here. We have some scout cavalry from Anatop.
And I think we can take a look at Anatop's base. He's on 5 TCs and also 5 Folvarks, all completely surrounded by farms, and he's adding in a 6th. So his food economy is going to be really good. I saw him doing Schlachter privileges earlier, and he's doing all of those cavalry upgrades, bloodlines, husbandry, conscription, the attack upgrades, cavalier. And he's adding in stables. He's going to have 8 stables, and he's going to be flooding the middle of the map with cavalry very soon.
Yeah, here comes for sure the flood. And this is what we were saying earlier as well. Their economy is pretty good for this. The knights are going to be very cheap. He's already got some scouts going forward as well, getting some vision. And all he needs to do is he needs to bust through over here and then start sending the units in. The moment he does that, if he can start spreading the cavalier around and cover as much ground as possible inside Max's base, he should be able to prevent Max's economy from allowing him to cap or keep up with production himself too.
And both players getting Cavaliers to the middle at just about the same time, but Sato's Bombard Cannons are pretty exposed there. Even if the Max loses those Cavaliers, he should be able to snipe off all 3 of them.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Sitos, yeah, push over here is not really going to work out. Fortunately for him, he was able to delay Veles's too at the same time, but there we go. The Cavalier are here, Janissaries are here as well. The Max get pushed away, and now Anatop, he's got the ball rolling. Check that production, man. Check that production.
Yeah, look at that. He's got 15 Cavaliers out, another 8 stables all working. He's just going to be spamming units. We see a lot more stables being added in from the Max, though. I mean, if there's one thing the Max knows how to do, it's play Paladins. And we're going to see Teuton Paladins against Polish Cavaliers, and we'll see which spam can win. Whether it's the tanky Teuton Paladins or the spammy goth-like Polish Cavaliers.
Can he afford it, though?
Now, I think one of the keys to this game is how Sato managed to add in that second TC. If you look at his eco, he is about 20 more vills than Veles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if this fight goes on and Veles loses that Janissary mass, it's going to be pretty hard for him to replace those numbers. And honestly, if you're the pole player, you don't really care about sacrificing units to kill Janissaries. You're just going to add them back really fast.
Right on. Plus, Sito's production potential is so much higher, he's got one extra castle.
Yeah, even after losing that forward one, he still added them in the back.
Yeah. There we go.
One thing, though, the Max, as they take this fight in the middle, the Max is also adding a castle to the right by that fortified wall, so he might be looking to open up another front and push eventually.
I guess so. Yeah, it might be too late. The engagement on the left-hand side is already taking place. We see the Max's monks over here coming over with nice conversions against Sito, and overall the HP pool is looking so much higher for Soin, but they can hold on, can they?
Yeah, the Janissary numbers for both players going down, and now the Paladins, now that the Cavaliers have kind of lost their numbers, the Paladins can keep pushing. Janissaries definitely will be more effective at shooting at those Cavaliers than against the Paladins.
For sure. And it does bring in a bunch of extra units. Incredible to see the units flooding the field over here, and the Max is kind of struggling to keep the same pace.
Yeah, if you look at the population, the Max has so many more villagers, but despite the stronger eco, this Polish army is so cheap.
Yeah, and there is something else happening right now. For Somi, you see the market's already on the right-hand side for the Max, and then coming up north for Vilese, which is going to take away from resources as they have to go for trade cards. Meanwhile, for Sito and Anatop, they are only now going for the sidewall, so it's going to take some time before they start investing into trade.
Indeed. And we see on the left-hand side, Anatov has some Cavaliers over trying to break in through the left side of Veles's base. Veles should be able to get some walls up. But this will at least take one of those extra golds away from him that's outside of his base. As you see, the Max needs to send Paladins to go clean that up. But we're going to have another huge engagement in the middle. And that's a lot of Cavaliers from Anatov.
Let's take a look. The numbers are looking pretty good. Yes, we do have a much higher HP pool for the Baguette over here, and that is not particularly close. The Cavalier pushing everything away. Beautiful engagement for the Baguette.
Not even the extra armor of those Teuton Paladins can overcome those numbers.
Absolutely, and now, as you were saying, Viles is starting to struggle over here. As he loses Janissaries, he struggles to keep up with production. And the Baguette instead is going to have Sito going for triple castle Janissary production. They have 9 stables producing Cavalier over here full time.
Yeah, if you look at those army numbers, it's 37 to 95. The Baguette's
Jeez.
just flooding the middle of the map.
Wow. Wow. At the moment I saw the Max go for so many extra pieces and get away with it, be the first player to get to the Imperial chest, certainly Teutons with their stronger cavalry are going to clutch this one up, but wow, was I wrong.
Yeah, the poll numbers are just insane. We see the Max, we have a castle race on the right-hand side at the bottom. Is the Max is throwing up a forward castle, and Anatov will be trying to defend. This will be 2 castles here for the Max, so he will have the production advantage in the Treb War. And maybe he can find a way to push into Anatov's base there, but he is losing the front of his base as he's lost the castle and that huge Janissary mass from Sito. I don't see any army from Veles to help out the Max here.
Man, what is going on? Is the Baguette going to take this one 4-0? It seems like they're taking the first 3 games without too many difficulties.
Yeah, I think this is just showing why the polls are such a great arena civ. I think, let's check the stats, and we'll give win number 3 to the Baguettes. I want to see how much food the polls collected.
Okay.
And, yeah, look at that economy. They have the most food, and that's despite the Max having more villagers and that longer boom. And also the Teuton cheaper farm bonus.
So I'm just adding the Max and Anatop into the stats over here, and I'm taking a look at the society tab for villager count, and yeah, that's absolutely on point. A much larger villager count for the vast majority of the game for the Max, and still a much stronger economy for Anatop. That's ridiculous, man. Good stuff.
Yeah, I think that the Folvark farms are probably the best late game bonus, other than perhaps Spanish trade in a team game. But you just get so much food from them.
Right. Well, how do you pronounce that, by the way? Folvark?
The Folvark?
Mm.
I think the W makes a V sound.
I never knew how to say it. Okay, that's good. Thank you. So, extremely strong performance for the Baguette. In the first 3 games, they end up taking this seemingly quite comfortably. At the very least, game number 3, I don't think we ever saw a point in which Suomi was putting too much pressure against Baguette and the Baguettes were uncomfortable at all.
No, I feel like they were always kind of one step ahead, even when the Max was Castle Age first and their initial kind of castle job failed. They never really got pushed back after that.
I'm taking a look at the most produced units from the top score players in the game, and we have like over twice. Actually, not over twice, just too short of twice as many Cavalier over here for Antov compared to the Paladin from the Max. Meanwhile, the Max, he's got a very nice number.
Of those 69 Teuton Paladins, just not nice enough. We do indeed Chinese and Berbers. Now, I have seen the Chinese on this map a few times, and they do have a bonus on the water because their demo ships have more HP.
Yeah.
But I think the main reason you'd pick them is because of this shorefish. I don't know these. What's the name for a group of fish? This large school of shorefish around their TC. We start with those extra 3 villagers, and you're not going to have any of that idle time at the beginning of the game because you're going to collect from that shorefish so quickly.
Correct. It can be a very strong civilization for maps like this, for maps like Marooned, anywhere that you can get access to food right away. That's going to mitigate your idle TC time early on. So after Loom, you can usually start going for villagers right away.
Yeah, and we see this right here. Veles only had 13 seconds of TC idle time, and Anatov actually only had 10. So very good start for the Chinese.
Pretty good.
And I guess the other thing to note about this map is the junks are actually trade carts. And they collect about 241 gold here for Anatov as he's trading with Veles's dock. So you trade with your enemy docks with your junk ship at the start of the game.
And you should be trying to trade to the farthest dock as possible to get the most gold, but it's also going to be, depending on the generation, a little bit riskier because you might have to go underneath the TCs. Now, Sito's sending villagers forward already, so you were onto something, man, yeah.
And whenever I've seen Lix going for it, I saw him going for the wood lines, but Sito is going straight for the dock, it looks like. Is he going to try to fight fishing ships?
It's the first time that I see this.
Yeah. And so my chat's asking, why aren't they killing the junk with the TCs? I actually don't know. I've never actually seen anyone garrison to try to kill it, so maybe it just doesn't work.
It's the junk's going to be... It's not quite as straightforward to kill. Yeah.
Yeah. And nice use of the horse here from Sato as he's trying to block the fishing ship there.
Oh, this is great. This is huge. He's certainly disrupting the economy. Because very close to the TC, you're gonna be running out of these resources eventually. So if you cannot collect from outside, it's very disruptive.
Also, the fish under the TC are the shorefish, so you'll collect from them more slowly than the deep sea fish outside.
Is that the... Oh yeah, that's true. I saw wrong for a moment. I thought we had some deep fish over here, but that is correct.
And now it's disruptive for both players as the Vils get into the back of Veles's base as well.
Now Sito's sending some villagers over to the wood line because he's going to try and push both places at the same time. We'll see if he can hold on to it.
At the same time, the Max has gotten into Anatov's wood line and has walled in a few Vils and is going for a Vil fight there. I think he spent too much time walling, though. Oh, looks like he's going to win this. He's just going to trade villagers with Anatov there.
1 for 1. Yes, and the manages to break through the
all
walls.
over the place.
It's going to get super hectic already. And notice that the Max has been the first player to get access to the trade workshop. He's already training from more than just a TC.
He is, and if the Baguettes don't go for the other one, the Max could potentially try to sneak over and take the one at the north as well.
Let's see. This is going over there. Sito is not really aware of the villagers, I think. Okay, now he's got vision of it, so he's sending all the villagers he had forward right to the wood line from Vides. It's gonna try to go for it, man. The Max could not make it work in game number 1. We'll see if Sito can make it work over here.
And he's using the horse as a part of that fight just to try to block. So I'll have to select the HP bars just so I can see what's happening with the pills.
Yeah. Both players with the horses over here. It's so hard, really, to even see what's going on. Imagine as a player, it's gotta be so hard to effectively fight over here. So that's another villager going down for Sito. And so far, it's been a better EcoKD. Never mind, it's the same.
I think that was probably a better fight for Veles, all things considered, because that's going to stop Sato's ability to Vil fight now that he's down to only 3 forward Vils.
I don't know, man. In this situation where you're kind of YOLOing forward, if you get pushed back or you cannot do too much damage, usually the reaction is to YOLO even harder. Now Sito sends some villagers over there.
And the thing about the Max, he has now captured both of those trade workshops. So if he has the food to produce from a TC and both of those, he's going to have a lot of Vils for Vil fighting.
By the way, I'm not really sure what the Max was doing on the right-hand side. It seems like he walled himself into the wood line, and now he's actually managed to trap both Sito and Anatop's villages. Good job.
Oh, that's nice. He has 4 Vils inside of that pen there. It's a vill. This is he's playing Zoo Tycoon and making an enclosure for villagers.
There you go. Sito's villagers will get to the left-hand side. And how many do we have total over here for the bull player? Let's see. Boy, I cannot double-click.
7. There's another 10 or so Vils over here.
10. Yeah. 10 versus 13 from Vileze.
Yeah. And the thing about this is, with all those fish you have, you're not going to have much idle TC time as you're pumping out these Vils, even though all of your Vils are forward fighting.
What an interesting map. We have seen some of the most interesting games on this one. Good stuff. There we go. Now Vileze is going to try and push Sito. He's got the hill advantage over here, but Sito's got the numbers lead.
Yeah, the numbers lead and his Vils move faster. It's so much easier for Sito to do the micro here, and he'll catch that low HP Vil that's trying to run away.
There we go. He lost one already. I think that's going to be 1-1 at this point. But overall, EcoKD is still favoring the Baguette, actually, with 8-6-7.
So that Vil fight's going on. We now see a few galleys from both players. Anatov is trying to snipe the Max's fishing ships, but Veles is there to try and defend them. I think, let's see, it looks like Anatov is going to lose his fish as well. So as players lose fish on the water, they might lose some momentum in this Vil fight if their economies start to lack in food.
There is some great potential though on water. If Anatop manages to clean Vileze's units up, and it seems like he should be able to do it, then taking the fishing ships down is going to prevent Vileze from going for extra villagers, and then it's going to be on the Max to go for economy this game, the same that we saw already in game number 3, right?
Yeah, well, it looks like most of the fishing ships for both teams have been cleaned up. I think Anatov only has 1 left, and
fair point.
Veles is just losing his last ones right now. I think Sato is the only one with a few fish left.
Yeah. Overall, EcoKD is favoring Suomi right now. Military counts a little bit better for Baguette, but yeah, still pretty rough.
Yeah, and just remember, as you pointed out earlier, the Max did take those trade workshops earlier, and Sato's going to find that out as he has a Vil to the north, but going to be countered by a higher HP Vil from the Max already there to defend it.
Yeah, I guess he can try and run away. It's going to be the same mobility for both, but he cannot take control of it, and that's very important because the Max has already been getting ahead by quite a bit. He's already managed to get a 14 villager lead over the highest villager count from the other team.
Yeah, and that just comes from holding those trade workshops. I mean, how often do you see someone with 42 villagers in the Dark Age?
Yeah, that's a fair point also, because the trade workshops produce villagers. It takes 50 seconds to train a villager as opposed to 25. Having both those trade workshops means that by the time he clicks up to the fuel age, he'll be able to keep on producing villagers as if he had the TC still working.
He's basically playing humans.
Exactly, yeah, in the Dark Age already. More engagements on the right hand side. Villagers from Sito, villagers from the Max. And Sito seems to be a little bit stronger over here, and it's just basically the defender's advantage. We have seen that from Vileze on the left hand side work pretty well against Sito, and then for Sito on the right hand side work pretty well against the Max.
Yeah, we have seen a few towers being thrown up from Anatov, so until Max reaches feudal, he won't be able to do anything more against those wood lines. But we haven't seen towers from Veles on the left hand side yet.
True. It seems like at this point we do have significantly more navy for Le Baguette though, so if they can clean Suomi up, they might be able to start coming back in economy by going for extra fishing ships. There's still some fish to be had.
Yeah, and see, players, are their junks still alive? Anatov still has his.
Yeah, he's the only player. Wow, he's getting a lot. Check this out.
241 gold
yeah.
from it. And you know, if you can win the water and you still do have that junk alive, you can have your teammate dock the other side and then trade with your teammate instead of your enemy.
Yeah, that's actually something we saw in one of the previous sets on this map. I don't remember. I think it was from the round of 8, if I'm not wrong. It can be pretty good. All right,
yeah, we see Sato sending.
Go on,
sent
sorry.
a few more vills out to those trade workshops, but
yes.
It's easier to defend them when they can actually produce villagers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be defender's advantage already on the building that's going to allow you to get ahead even. So Castle Age is on the way now for Vileze, and it's on the way for Anatop. We see the Fuel Age only now on the way for Citeaux, and Suomi are looking pretty good for economy, but once again, Le Baguette, they do have the military lead, and they are most likely going to end up securing water, so that can make a difference once again to potentially come back in economy.
Yeah, and okay, so how quickly do fire galleys destroy TCs? Because the Max is advancing to the Castle Age, but his TC is under pressure by about 7 fire galleys. Some of them are destroying houses, but I wonder if they could like snipe that off before he clicks up.
Nah, he can't. It's already garrisoned. He cannot do it. He will need to get to the Castle Age and go for war galleys.
Oh yeah, that junk doesn't even get really hit by the TC.
Yeah.
Just kind of sails past all the arrows.
We don't have Dark Age ballistics this time around. Beautiful engagement on the left-hand side though. Citeaux versus the Max, trying to contest the trade workshop over there. A lot of extra units for Citeaux over here, but the Max, of course, with the defense advantage, might be able to catch up.
That's a lot of vills at the back corner for Citeaux. Well, we have Velez up to the Castle Age. Anatov will be right behind him, but then also the Max clicking up, and the Max has already put down some stables. So as the Berbers, he's going to be looking out to get out some of those cheaper stable units, either those Knights or Camels.
Man, what a hectic map. This is going to be so fun to watch. I think the moment we get both players from Suomi and get to the Castle Age area, that's going to become so much harder for Le Baguette to defend against for sure. And this could be, I guess, the very beginning of a potential comeback over here for Suomi.
Yeah, I think they're in a pretty good spot. Anatov has a super high score, though, but I really like the way the Max had controlled those trade workshops. Finally, Citeaux manages to take one of them, but he's already down by 21 vills.
Yeah, completely. Now Anatop has gotten to the war galley upgrade himself, so he's got fire ships as opposed to fire galleys, and he will be taking the TC down, but the Max already in the Castle Age goes for a second TC on land. So it's gonna be fine.
Yeah, but still, losing one of your TC is never something you want to deal with.
Fortunately for the Max, all the time he held on to both those trade workshops allowed him to still stay ahead quite a bit in economy, so it's not going to hurt quite as much though in any case.
Yeah. So these TCs on the water, are you able to add more farms on the water surrounding the TCs eventually?
No.
Or are you not allowed to build them?
You know what? I don't think I have seen anyone try. I don't think I remember trying this. I think you should be able to, right? Because you can go for houses and stuff, but it's not going to be safe. Usually you don't want to be potentially exposed to Navy units when you can avoid it, so...
Yeah, but I'm thinking more for the Baguette's team. Now that they've cleaned the the 2 enemy bases on the water, they would have some farming space down there.
I imagine they could go for it. I don't see why not. They could go for houses. They should be able to go for maybe some rice farms.
Maybe because the farms actually change the terrain underneath, they might not be able to. I don't know. Well, I'll have to experiment. But
yeah.
Anyway, we have a very asymmetrical. Yeah, we have a very asymmetrical game on our hands here, as we have the Baguettes who have controlled the water, but the But the Max, who has controlled the trade workshops for pumping out those extra vills, and we'll see if he can hold on to them for now.
Honestly, man, you can get so much gold from the junks from early on. I would definitely like to see what you said, right? Just one dock at the very bottom over here towards the south or the left-hand side, and just go at the very least for one trade cog if you have already lost your junk in the case of Sito, right? That could be very strong.
Yeah, and I think mistake from Anatov actually killing the dock there. That's going to stop the junk from being able to trade with it.
Yeah.
Suomi might have actually wanted to delete their docks now. Actually force them to build that second dock to trade.
Man, there's so much going on everywhere. I just see the map, so many blinking dots, and so much of the red and green and yellow and blue everywhere. It's so hard to keep up, and yeah, even the players will be struggling over here.
Yeah, we see Sato's going for some towers on the left, trying to secure that gold. But we have lots of knights out for Veles already. And Anatov's adding in more TCs on the right-hand side. And again, Anatov has a huge score lead. If you look at that Vill count, he's actually just about caught up to the Max, who has had that extra Vill production for this entire game.
Yeah, that is huge. The Max right now might still retain both trade workshops over there, but with one extra TC, with one TC remaining rather, that's going to be like 2 TCs worth of villager production, while Anatop, of course, he's going for double dock fish and ship production, plus he's got the third TC about to finish building too.
And the Max has to keep running. He's losing those gold mines. He had small walled them to keep them safe from the knights, but now there are towers coming up from Sato, so the Max has to run away.
Oh man, come on! No way is the Baguette doing this, man! Are they doing it?
Things are looking pretty good for them. Like, despite Sato being so far down, Anatov looks like he's in a position to carry.
I mean, I thought surely Suomi with both players in the castle, it should be able to take on this, right? That's some knights, crossbows, you have fantastic sieves, cheaper knights, but plus a stronger economy, right, for the Max for so long, but it's not been possible for them to get ahead.
Yeah, I feel like it's just gonna come down to a 1v2 right now, because Sato is on 19 villagers. I don't think he'll be able to contribute much other than towers here and there for the foreseeable future. But he's now taking that trade workshop, and can Anatov do this? Can he push? Can he push 2 players?
Certainly going to try, and you take a look, he's been going ham with the fish and ships down south. He's going to keep on getting so many resources for free, so at the very least that's going to mitigate some of the cost that he would have to go through in order to get farms up, for instance, if he had lost access to water, so that helps too.
He has at least 15 fishing ships down there and a few ships out for Sato too.
There we go. There's a counter push coming out from the Max. Now he's got some knights on the right hand side. Most likely will get cleaned up, but most importantly he's getting some intel over here, so that's pretty good if he can spot some exposed economy to potentially try and target later.
Yeah, I do wonder if the Suomi team might want to go for some camels instead of these knights, because both Chinese and Berbers could add in camels when they have Anatov mostly just going for knights.
Maybe. It'd be a little bit harder to raid with, but also a little bit harder to counter, of course.
And I feel like at this point you're more worried about just not dying to knights than you are about raiding.
I guess so. How much do we have to wait for Sito to get up himself? He's got the trade workshop, he's got the 1 TC. He's not really producing economy at all, so I guess he's just gonna try to save the resource to go up. What's the plan over here?
I mean, at this point you're on 24 villagers. I don't even know what you do.
Yeah.
I feel like you just try to be annoying with towers while slowly adding in enough eco to be useful at some point.
Well, that certainly would come in line with what we usually see for White Wolf Palace, for instance, when Lix is in Sito's position, right? He just tries to be annoying and be kind of the punching bag and allow the teammate to get ahead. With the difference that this time around, Suomi are looking pretty strong both of these players, so it's going to be much harder for Sito to disrupt this game.
And on the left-hand side, the Max has been trying to get up a TC. He had walled his vills, but the knights broke in. He couldn't repair the house fast enough. Oh, and he just gets the TC up. And now he has some camels, but he lost a lot of vills doing that.
Just barely. Yeah, still pretty good. With the TC going up at the very least, he'll be able to secure this goal as well. And That was a little bit of an issue for him early on, but now he's got the TC there. On the right hand side, he's got another TC right next to another goal. He's even going to go and go for a mining camp by the stone, so we're gonna see some castles coming up in the future for Suomi too.
Yeah, and I think the Max needs to pay attention to reclaiming that trade workshop. He doesn't want to let Sato get villagers out of that.
Yeah, for sure.
There's one thing they don't want, it's Sato getting back into the game.
Yes. Yeah. See the castle coming up on the right hand side. Very nice push over here from the Max though, but we have the monks over here. Coming over from Vilese, so I think that castle might be just the knight here.
Well, us trying to convert the knights didn't really focus the vills. Anatov was going to send everything. Sometimes it takes a village to raise a castle, but he gets it up.
Sometimes. And sometimes not. But he got it up. This is very important. Anatov, the castle over here is going to provide so much protection, and it's going to be a fantastic buffer for Anatov's economy. Otherwise, he would still be wide open to the knights.
Yeah, and it does give some options for walling even just a bit south of the castle, and then he'd be really safe.
Oh, true. Yeah. Fair point. So he secures the goal over here, and let's take a look. He's not really producing much of anything, just villagers over here. It seems like he's gonna try and make a play for the Imperial Age, maybe?
Well, I don't really see any player having the food to go imp just yet.
Besides Vilese.
Oh, yeah, he is. He is up to imp. He doesn't have the resources because he just clicked it. That's why.
Yeah. Now it seems like dude, take a look at that. Anatov's just skyrocketing his food count, his gold count. Seems like he's gonna be able to go up. Just 1 minute ago, it seems like there was no way for him to do it. But of course, Vilese has him beat.
Yeah, I mean, he has had all of those fishing ships, and for all this time, they've been working on deep sea fish. He hasn't even had to add in any fish traps, so they've been very efficient fishing ships so far.
Yeah, for sure. Could potentially keep on going further towards the south if he needed to, go for a few more docks and just keep on collecting resources for free, so it's a pretty good source. Meanwhile, whale on land. Now things are starting to look a little bit more one-sided for Suomi though. Population starting to get out of hand.
Yeah, the Sato still 28 vills. He is still not back into this game. Max has finally retaken that trade workshop in the north. And Sato, at this point in the game, a few towers here and there really aren't going to be as annoying as they were earlier.
Yeah, if he wanted to make this one work, he would need so many more units. He would need to try and spread out as much as possible and do a lot of damage. But Suomi have already managed to get to a position where they should be able to defend just fine. Not only because of the production and military, but also because of the sheer amount of TCs and defenses, with even the second castle coming up for Vilese at the center, for instance.
Yeah, and that castle will be up just in time for him to start making trebs as he gets up to imp just a bit before Anatov. And that castle, the way this map works, it's on the top of a hill when he wants to protect his farms, but at the bottom of a hill now when he's going to engage in a treb fight. So that castle will probably go down pretty quickly.
Yeah, most likely. Production potential over here being twice as high for Vilese with double the castles over here. So even if Anatov managed to survive with the castle until it got to the Imperial Age, he very unlikely will be able to hold on.
Looks like the Max is just going to be adding in a few more camels here and there. The Max is actually getting close to imp. I don't know if it's a better play for him to go imp or just to spam units.
There we go.
Also, Toe had tried to add in another tower on the Max's base, but the monk will stop the Vil.
Yeah. Thanks so much for the raid, Nikop. It's appreciated. Welcome, everyone. We are casting Suomi versus the Baguette, this best of 7 set for the semi-final of Terra Nova Duos, and with me is Mr. T West.
Hello there.
Here we go. It's looking pretty good for...
We've had a crazy game so far.
Yeah. It's been fantastic, and right now it's looking pretty good for Suomi. We even see the Max kicking up to the Imperial Age, but up until this point, it was so one-sided for the Baguette. It's nice to see a change of pace and to have at the very least a 5-game series.
Yeah, and now with the hill advantage, that's a lot of Vils repairing, but I think that Velez should, once he gets out another Treb or so, really be able to push that castle.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Anatov's also going for plate mail armor. and Iron Casting right now, so he's making a play for Halberdier, which is not the best news because that means he's gonna be playing defensive over here, and then if he just reacts and he's the only player who's going to be relevant for the Baguette, what does that mean?
Yeah, and Halb and Ram is not the unit composition you want against the True Care News, is they call the GG, and Swomi gets on the scoreboard.
There we go. 3-1 in favor of the Baguette. And is this accurate? I don't have 25 knights and Vilas 16 Chico News. Seems weird.
I feel like Anatov had more than 25 knights.
I feel so too.
Maybe that's why he wasn't really able to push that advantage. Maybe I see he has 121 vills. Maybe instead of adding in so much eco, going more aggressive for knights could have been a different strategy for him.
Definitely. All right. For the achievements, for military, it's looking pretty good for Suomi. On average, that overall KD over here is much higher for them compared to the Baguette.
Yeah, well, that'll happen when Sato goes 17 and 57.
Yeah. And, well, for economy, interestingly enough, Anatap over here looking so good for the majority of the game. So far ahead, I think, let me see, at about 27 minutes into the game or so, Anatap actually managed to collect even more resources than the max over here, which was the high point for the max in terms of resources collection. But it was never enough. Without Sito in the game, it was always a 1v2.
Is that potentially a 1v2? He might have had a chance at winning, but made it interesting despite his teammate being mostly dead.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, that trade profit, pretty good for Anatap. And could have been so much higher as well if they hadn't destroyed the dog. Oh, although the other team was probably going to delete it anyway, so they needed to go for one dog to guarantee it.
Yeah, that junk collected a lot of gold.
Perfect. Okay.
It just goes to show you that with the junk, one man's trash is another man's treasure. All right, well, if we're talking about we might see standard civs, and for Suomi, we see Franks and Ethiopians, and for the Baguettes, we see Burgundians and Mayans. So this is probably about as standard as you could get. The Suomi having already used the Mayans, so we see Franks and Ethiopians.
Yeah.
And Britons, of course, are banned.
It makes sense. So for those who might not be familiar with the map, we can see already, wow, nice shape with the range indicators around the trade workshops. What is the name of this intersections? Is there a technical name for that or something?
I don't. Maybe there is. I'm not familiar with it though. It's a
Pretty nice.
Just
So
intersecting circles.
yeah, if you select them all and then you enable the colored shading, you're going to see also a very strong point around the monument as well. That's going to be the danger zone. You want to stay out of there.
You'll have a clear indicator of how many of the towers can hit your units at once.
Yeah. That's pretty good. All right, so this time around, Sito's going to control the one on the left-hand side, and Margugu's going to have to rely on his own economy. He's playing Burgundian, so it's not bad. I guess you could say the same the other way around as well. With Mayan economy, maybe even Margugu will be able to take advantage of that monument, but on the right-hand side, we're going to see a similar situation as well with the Archer player going for the monument.
Yeah, well, I guess the Archer player does need that gold earlier on than the Cav player. The Cav player doesn't really need it until they're thinking about clicking up to the Castle Age.
Yeah. So it definitely works. And I believe it's 45. I think it's 45 gold per minute, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to keep track of it, but I think that's probably accurate. Yeah, I think it is.
So do you think players fast castle on this map, or do we see some feudal age action?
They can definitely fast castle because it's pretty straightforward to wall here. However, I would say depending on which civilization you're facing, if you're gonna want to fast castle or not, because it could be riskier. For instance, if you're playing Burgundians, you probably want to play for economy, so if you are on Vilese or Max's position, you're not going to be expecting early aggression, then you probably can try to make a play for fast castling yourself, but that's also going to come at a risk of letting Burgundians get away with it. So...
Yeah.
I'm not really sure. I think it's probably better for Somi to be a little bit more aggressive over here, especially as Viles is already going to get a nice boost in the village with the extra resources. Try to go forward and prevent Margugu from playing for economy, for instance.
Yeah, and as you said, we had been seeing Cumans on this map a few times. Burgundians are kind of the same thing. You stay in the feudal age for a longer time so you can get your eco upgrades.
Let's see. Do you expect to see... What do you expect to see over here, given the civs?
The way this map plays out and the way we see people walling already, I would kind of expect fast castles from perhaps everyone.
Mm-hmm.
See, Margugu's going for a very small wall around his base, though. That's interesting, because he's going to basically leave his stone exposed and potentially his gold exposed, too.
Let's see, the max is going up. He's going up to the field age of 19 population, so it's going to be a scout push. Right now, he's got his own scout forward, so he doesn't still know who is going to be forward, I believe, because I'm not really sure this actually is affected by team positions. I think it might be, given the matchups, so he might already know who he's up against.
Well, both sides we have Cav player versus Archer player, so it's going to be the mismatch. They're not going to have mirrors.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. The Max wasn't sure who he was going to be facing. Oh god, he didn't even spot the passes over there. Okay. Can he get the monument? He's got it.
And that's what he does.
Yeah,
and that's what I was saying. Those scouts, you can steal the monument and steal your enemy team's gold trickle.
That is
like
good.
Margugu might try to do that on the other side too.
Oh, let's take a look. Yeah, he knows about the tower, so he knows where the monument is. And he gets it. The thing about this too is that you don't really get notified in-game if you lose the monument. You just gotta pay attention because you do have the monument area revealed to you, to your team. So you can see it all the time, but you don't get notified if you lose it, so you just gotta pay attention.
This is where you pick Khmer and just have one Vil building a farm there right from the start, so you never lose it.
I hadn't thought of that. That's actually a pretty interesting idea. Notice Margugu's converted this, and it doesn't seem like Somi's realizing about that.
Yeah, they're not reacting to it. They're not heading back to grab it.
Yeah, at all.
And of course, your towers aren't going to shoot at it either.
Yeah, it's not. I wonder if you can do it. I'm not really sure if you'll be able to manually target it.
It looks like Veles might be sending his scout over now.
Alright. Yes. Yeah, there we go. He's got the archer range coming up, so it seems like it's going to be a field play for Somi, and it seems like it's going to be a field play for Le Baguette as well. Although Margugu took a little bit longer to go up himself, he at the very least already has good eco upgrades.
Yeah, we see double ranges from Sato. Interestingly enough, they're not forward. They're kind of to the north of his base.
Yeah.
And he again is somehow walling the back of his base before the front and just putting a tower on his gold. That seems a bit strange to me.
Is it maybe a ruse? A trap over here to let units come in and then strike? I'm not really sure. It seems kind of awkward.
Yeah, I don't know.
He got spotted by the Max already, so I don't think it's going to do much of anything.
Yeah, and I think the Swomi team is doing probably more of what I would have expected. Is they're kind of getting a team wall up. I guess the Max is walling the back of his base, but Veles is, as he's building his buildings down the middle, I think he's going to look to a wall across there.
That might be the plan, yeah. So we have the archers coming out for Vileza very soon. And the Max at this point, he doesn't really have any scout production coming up whatsoever. Instead, he's going for a market, and it seems like he's just going to try to go up to the castle edge, and it's going to be the same situation for Margugu. Just the archer players playing for military right now.
And Margugu is going to be annoying. He's going to steal that monument once more. He'll only have it for a few seconds, but that will at least force Veles to bring his scout back and capture it again.
Interestingly enough, Vileza, despite having gone for a few archers, having gone for the archer range over here, will still be able to go up to the castle edge at about the same time as the Max and Margugu, while Sito seems like it's going to take a little bit longer.
Yeah, now it's the Max's turn to come forward and take Monument again. And, well, with both of the players completely walled in, potato style, around their bases for the baguettes, they're not going to have a unit to send forward and reclaim that that Monument. They're going to have to send a Vil forward or bring one of their scouts back. And the Max might actually hold on to this for quite a bit of time.
Yeah, I think so. He also keeps his own scout at hand, so if he notices this one gets converted back, he can wait a little bit and go and convert it back again, just be annoying.
Well, it looks like Margugu is going to do that again. Really wants to get that gold trickle from the Monument.
Yeah.
Just both teams being as annoying as they can.
His scout is getting kind of frail over here, though. It's just gotta be careful.
Sato sent one archer back. He might just want to have that archer stand there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Make sure it doesn't get stolen.
I'm not sure what...
Velessa could probably do the same thing.
Yeah, and the Max is bringing the scout back, so it's over with the Monument shenanigans. Now it should stay under each team's control, and we are going to see a transition to the Castle Age already for Suomi, who are going up a little bit faster on average as a team compared to Le Baguette, although very soon Sito will be able to click up too.
And Velessa adding in one spearman just to stand near that Monument and make extra sure it doesn't get taken. So he's finally adapting to the annoying scout.
Oh boy.
Oh, but it looks like Sato is coming in with some archers just as Velessa has not finished this wall.
Oh boy. Can he get a villager? It's got a little bit of a heal advantage over here, and there we go. That's gonna be one villager going down. Make that two villagers going down. Yes, sir.
And great play there from Sato. I don't know why Velessa... he really wasn't aggressive in finishing that wall. He just left that hill completely exposed.
Yeah.
Getting a few palisades up there probably would have saved him a couple of vills.
Most likely. Sito's going back now. He's gonna try and provide some defense against Vilessa's push, and for military count, he's actually a little bit ahead even.
Yeah, he is, and that stable had been delayed for Margugu.
Got it.
We'll have the crossbows first for Velessa, because that team is up faster. I don't know if he'll have an engagement to take.
He does have a nice head start though to the upgrade compared to Margugu, so sorry, compared to Sito. So Sito does have more archers over here, but against crossbows he would struggle unless Vilesa didn't pay attention to the units and took a bad engagement.
I guess one thing is this Margugu economy as the Burgundians, he has had heavy plow and bowsaw, I think, for much of the feudal age. So he's probably with the strongest eco in the game at this point.
Interestingly enough, it seems like that's going to be the case for Sito. At the very least, taking a look at the gather economy time, it seems to be a little bit higher for the green player.
Does that include the monument trickle as well?
I don't think so. I think that's the time that villagers have been collecting resources.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's very interesting.
We're going to see Sato. Yeah, Sato's going to be using the fortified towers to keep his archers alive and stop the crossbows from pushing in.
Should be able to get the crossbow upgrade now, and he's going for blocking arrow as well, although Vilese, right now he's got more crossbows. We see the knights coming over from the max as well, and Suomi's got a very mighty army to fight with.
Mighty army and a hill advantage.
True. It's kind of weird though, because if Sito plays defensive over here, he's going to have a hill advantage, as eventually Suomi is going to have to move forward, but
That's true.
that also means that he actually cannot repel Suomi, and Suomi can keep on bringing more units and getting stronger.
Yeah, and, well, Sato, he is mines. He has 3 ranges. He will be able to pump out a lot of crossbows. But how will this fight go? I don't really see... Up there we go. Now we have the Cavalier from Margugu. Could Suomi be caught out of position on this hill?
He's gonna try, but the numbers are looking a little bit better for Suomi, I think. Yeah, and the HP pool is a little higher for them too.
You know, I think that they're kind of equal in numbers, but over time, I worry, could this army get trapped on the hill? Because the Baguettes will have the reinforcement advantage. They will be sending their soldiers here a bit more quickly. Oh, a couple archers from Sato could be picked off.
Let's see, here comes the engagement.
And as soon as they leave that hill, they can't get back.
Yes. There we go. They're taking this one. Are they sticking to the engagement, or are they just going to disengage very soon? They're sticking to it.
Yeah, they're just... The knights are doing their dance, they're not actually fighting. That's as has knights do these days. And
Yeah.
Suomi's able to retreat. I was worried they might have gotten trapped on that hill and wouldn't be able to retreat, but it looks like they will be able to get away.
Yeah, maybe if we had a few extra Cavalier for Magugu earlier when he was trying to flank the units, they would have been able to force the engagement, but now Somi's just going to bail. We have an extra archer ranges over here for Vilese, he's on 3 as well, so it's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, now with that hill, they should be able to hold a bit.
3 stables for Magugu versus only 2 for the max, so this could make a difference. However, the hill advantage, as you said, makes a difference over here as well, and it seems like Somi's getting the better end of the deal over here, so Baguette's gonna have to break the engagement here once again.
Yeah, but still, if you look at the stats, about 80 to 85 vills for both teams, about that 37-38 military, it's still very close.
Yeah. One big engagement over here could very definitely swing this game in favor of one team or the other.
It looks like Magugu is adding in that second TC, so those Burgundians still just continuing to stay just a bit ahead in their economy.
They're going back to the hill as well. It's not going to be possible for Somi to take the engagement over here as long as the Baguette not only have the defense advantage, but also the hill. So they are going back, and it's the teams are being extremely cautious. Once again, whoever takes the engagement over here and comes out on top is going to get some massive lead most likely, so they are being extremely careful.
Yeah, neither team wants to really take a bad fight here, and this still looks like a pretty even engagement so far.
Extremely accurate medieval fight simulator over here with the knights just dodging arrows.
Yeah. Well, the longer this stays in the Castle Age, the bigger the advantage of the Cavaliers will get, as Magugu can keep adding in numbers, but they have to keep the numbers close.
Right now we also have forging as well for Magugu, so his units, in the eventual case of an engagement, of an actual engagement against Max's units, will be stronger because of the 2 extra attack for the Cavalier.
As the Mines player also does have the extra armor right now, so if they take
true.
a crossbow versus crossbow fight, it'll be better for them.
For about the 5th time or so, we
Ethiopian
see
ones do shoot.
another engagement over here potentially coming up.
They're still not really committing to it. Knights still not wanting to jump on everything, and whenever baguettes fall behind, they can just go back to that hill.
I would definitely like for the Baguettes to try and force the engagement over here better, simply because when they are just dancing away and trying to dodge arrows, they're just gonna be as useful as Max's units, right? It doesn't matter if you have Cavalier, if it's the same HP and the same armor as the Knight. If you cannot take advantage of the extra attack, I think it's better for them if they can take the engagement.
Yeah, right, and here's the thumb ring for Sato, so he's about to have fully upgraded Mayan crossbowmen, which is definitely something that's very scary, even if you are Ethiopians.
Alright, Somi's gotta be careful, they're going forward, but that also means that they could potentially get trapped, so they are going back and nobody wants to take the engagement! Oh boy!
Yeah, people just want to dodge arrows.
I can micro. We're gonna see Max go up to the Imperial Age faster than anybody else, but they are a little bit behind in the economy though.
I feel like Sato just has slightly more crossbows. And in these engagements, I think the crossbow numbers matter a lot, because they're the units that are actually going to be doing the fighting.
There we go.
Finally have an engagement here.
Finally an engagement taking place over here. The Cavalier against the Knights, they are better because of the extra attack. We have the same armor, HP over here. However, the units are looking a little bit better for Suomi still, and a lot of crosses over here compared to the green player. It's going to be 21 to 13, Solem again, and they're getting a worse trade here.
Yeah, they are, but they still keep a lot of their armies alive, and both teams trade off, but still, if you look at the military numbers, it's now 37 to 43. It's still pretty close.
It is.
We finally had an engagement, and it didn't really defeat anyone. It was a pretty close one.
It was pretty close. I do find it very interesting that Suomi will be able to go up so much faster compared to Le Baguette, but that also means that they'll start falling behind. You take a look at Le Baguette, and they are going for full military production. I think they are sensing Suomi's intentions here.
Indeed. Part of me is kind of curious that no one has tried to add in ships on the water. Because if you add in a couple of demo ships, then all of a sudden this land army can't really cross and pressure you.
Yeah, true. The player so far, I would just...
That might...
The what?
Yeah, I was going to say that might just be because I've played a lot of mega random games with Tato back in the day, and I'm still very afraid of demo ships.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be pretty good, of course. But right now it's oh. Okay, sorry. For one moment over there, I got a little bug, and I was worried that I would have to rejoin the game. Oh god, my heart. It's too much for today. Power outage and now internet outage. Please no.
Oh. Yeah, I know that feeling.
Oh
Well,
boy.
Baguettes are going to engage, but they're downhill. But I think they have the numbers advantage as Swami had tried to go imp.
Yeah. They knew it. They knew it. Lebaguet knew it. Now they are going to dominate the engagement over here. It's not going to be close this time around. Lebaguet will have so many units to harass Swami with.
And that's the problem. Swami, both of their players went imp. It's not like one went imp while the other was continuing to pump out army. They both went for it. And now they're going to have to retreat to these fortified towers. And we'll see how effective these towers are.
If you garrison the crosses, maybe. We have ballistics already for Vilese. The problem is that they are static, right? So the baguette will just go elsewhere.
And the problem also, Velez had not walled the back of his base. He was relying on those forward walls. So now the Cavaliers and the crossbows are in. He's going to try to throw down a panic PC just to have a place to garrison villagers.
Oh boy.
Such a rough situation for him.
A 4-1 score over here in favor of Le Baguette, no less, is probably the second least thing I was expecting besides a 4-0.
And he's just up to imp. And did he? Oh, he overchopped the wood on the left so the Cavaliers can run in through there too.
Oh god.
And Velez is just going to die here.
A little bit disaster. He's managed to get the wall up on the right hand side, but that's going to delay the inevitable. He's going to a dead end over there. And yeah, those villagers won't be doing anything anyway, so his economy is still disrupted.
He just found a little pocket in the forest to hide in.
Yeah. Somi's gonna keep on trying, guys. It's match point already, but it's looking pretty dire for the Finnish team.
They need to clean this somehow, and just in a few moments we're going to have Sato with the mines being up to imp. Once those crossbows become arbs, there's nothing that really will be able to clean them up.
Yeah.
I don't think Velez can even afford upgrades for his crossbows.
Plus Margugu about to click up to the Imperial Lich himself as well. Cheaper paladin once he gets to the Imperial Lich as well. It's gonna be so
He's
rough.
really been using that market.
True, yeah.
Oh, the Vills, they come out of hiding just to run back.
Oh boy, the engagement over here does go in favor of Suomi. They do have a higher HP pool and a much larger amount of units, but we now have extra units coming over the left-hand side, I think. Yeah, some Cavalier.
Yeah, they managed to take that just in time that they could clean up the crossbows before they became arbs. But again, Velez, that place where he didn't wall earlier is once again still not fully walled, and the Cavaliers are just running straight through it.
This is really good too. Margu doesn't really care about engaging with the max and taking a better trade against those Cavaliers, just wants to disrupt so that they can still keep on bringing units forward, and they prevent Somi from getting too many defensive units up. Now we have a lot of Arbalesters on the way for Sito.
Oh yeah, that's 29 Arbalest. Those Cavaliers won't be able to do anything.
Yeah. Now these crossbows,
That type of army.
they can push.
Yeah, it's like that type.
Yeah. Just the Arbalesters over here will not be able to push against Cavalier and the crosses, but they can go back, so it's not a big deal.
And well, despite taking all of that damage, Swami somehow still has a score lead. Velez is on only 40 Vils, but sometimes when you're the Arbalest player, you don't need that big of an economy if you can get your upgrades in.
True. And he's got a respectable amount of Arbalesters right now. It's just a production potential so much higher for Sito. You take a look at production, he's producing from 8 archer ranges at a time at some point.
And with all of these Cavaliers, Paladin is on the way for the max, and if there's the one thing that the max likes, it's Franks with Paladins.
What would you like to see in this position? Would you like to see the max maybe try and provide a meat shield over here for the Arbalesters, or would you like for him to go forward and try and get the raids going?
That I don't know. I feel like the max really wants to delay for that Paladin upgrade. There's no way he can really fight against those Arbalests without Paladin.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's, what, 5 TCs here for Margugu. Only 1 TC for Sato. That's the problem with being the or with facing the Arbalest player. Once they get that big mass, they can just be careful with it and not take a
Yeah,
bad fight. And then even if you have a whole bigger economy or a bigger army, you can't really manage to take a fight against them.
that is true. I think I will probably prefer the max to try and go for an raid because it reminds me of an interview that Mem had with AM for Bell Africa, and Hera said something like that. It was a game where Nikov died pretty badly, and Hera was able to bring the game back by going forward and raiding. The problem is that the max over here would have so much catching up to do. They are behind by 59 villagers already.
Yeah. Like the problem with the raiding thing is that Veles isn't fully walled. He has those holes in his
Yeah.
woodline. He just has palisades to the north. If the max were to go forward, Veles would just die.
Yeah, it seems like you just run into a roadblock no matter which hypothetical road you go down. Show me. Yeah, that was not even close, man. The Sarvalisters get completely flattened. How many do we have left? 10.
Not enough. I mean, you think, late game, Franks will have the better paladins, Ethiopians would have the better arbalests, but they didn't get to that point.
Yeah, they were just a little bit. I'm not really sure too greedy would be the way to say it, but it was a very nice readout though in any case from the Baguette. Remember the moment Somi clicked up to the village, the Baguette just went ham on production and full pressure. That was pretty good from them.
Yeah. And again, using that Civ bonus, the Mayans being able to pump out more crossbows and the Cavaliers being able to beat Knights. And we're gonna have one big fight as the archery ranges are deleted.
Alright.
Paladins. More Paladins from the back. Can the Max do this?
It's gonna try for sure, but I think it's too little too late already, especially as we already have Paladin for Margugu for the meat shield over here as well.
And he has more coming in behind it too. And still a good 40 yarbs.
Yeah. I think
That's
it's over,
an
man.
old school full control group.
Yeah. It's over. It is.
So it. There's the GG.
There we go.
And
The GG skull over here.
208 Arbalests for Sato and the Baguettes. They're going to advance to face WWP in the finals.
Absolutely, man. What I said, this is definitely not what I was expecting at all.
No, I was expecting Swomi to not go down 3-0 and not lose 4-1.
Yeah.
But Baguettes have been playing very well this tournament, and they're getting to the finals.
For sure. Wow, man, what an incredible performance for the Baguette over here. A team that's coming up and it's gaining some steam, in the last year or two. They have certainly already shown what a great team they can be, and I'm certainly hoping they are going to stick together. And even though they have a different name for Battle Africa, I'm certainly hoping that they are going to stick together like the actual roster, right? The actual players, because I think we could have a future contestant for Suomi, for Wild Pals, AM, what have you.
Yeah, I mean, for a while, a lot of people weren't so active on the ladder, but Sato had been at that #1 spot for quite a while. And Margugu has been proving himself to be a really good player.
Yeah.
Rather new player compared to everyone else.
That's
even
true as
compared
well.
to Sato. But yeah, he certainly has a bright future ahead of him.
He's been playing since 2020 only, right?
Yeah, I think he was one of those who picked it up since the DE came out.
Come on, man. Way to make me feel bad about my life. Oh, that is just so good. Well played. Congratulations to Baguette. Let's take a look at the achievements one more time.
And you know what? It makes me, if we ever do have another Nations Cup, France could potentially have a very good team with Sato and Margugu on it.
Yeah, that is
Taking
true.
down take Swami already.
That is true. All right. So for the military achievements over here, we see actually a pretty decent KD for the Max and Viles overall. But while it was a little bit better for them, you take a look at economy and it's going to show a completely different picture, right? Even if La Baguette did not take the most efficient engagements, they did not get the better KD. Their economy was so much stronger, especially at the end game.
Yeah, that slight delaying of imp from them lets them add in a stronger economy as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that was so good. For society, for instance, you can clearly see the moment Vileza and the max click up to the Imperial Age, Vileza starts absolutely crumbling for villager count.
Yeah, that is. And no, some of those vills were off hiding in the forest. They weren't even working.
Yeah, true, true, true. And I only now realized
Yeah.
that they actually had, at several points, Margugu had more villagers than Sumi combined. That's pretty strong.
Oh yeah, he did. Well, that's what happens when you stay castle and you kill someone, I guess.
Well played. Well, now we only have one more set to go for Terra Nova Duos to reach its conclusion, and that's going to be Wyvil Palace versus who, Mr. T West?
Versus these up and coming baguettes. That's gonna be quite the interesting series. WWP, very well known, very established team.
Absolutely, man.
They're I will probably mistakenly call them SY many times, but some very good competition.